These chairs are big, huh?
Yeah, I like it.
And they're
It's
comfy.
comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like a normal barbershop where you get in there, you're like
squeezing into it. Especially me, I feel like, well, hello, Deb.
hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. I'm excited to hear your story. I didn't heard a little bit about you, about how you got to R&R, and but like I didn't want to hear about your backstory before because I wanted to save it for the camera. So if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. So my name's Deb Ramirez. I'm the operations manager of R&R. And the way I became the operations manager of R&R is I met Jamie Repanning over at Floyd's 99 Barbershop. He was the owner, I was the district leader, and he proposed to me to be the operations manager over here. At first, I was a little hesitant, but right away I knew it was my passion. It was my heart. It's what I love. My backstory is between the ages of 28 and 32, I was a single parent of 3 children. So my daughter would have been 13 at that time, my son would have been 11, and my other son would have been 8. So I was a single mom. I found myself without a job, and I had just recently got divorced, and I was trying to kind of relive my life because I got married at the age of 17, so very young.
Yeah.
And so I was in and out of the bars, doing the most, ran into some of the wrong people, and they introduced me to a fast life, and it was running dope state to state. And you go in and you get a large amount and you run it from Phoenix to Colorado or California to Colorado, and you get paid a big sum of money. And it became what's the word? Adrenaline. It was just a rush, and it was simple. I drove one weekend. I drive, get a rental car, drive, pick it up, come back, get paid, be done.
So did you ever see the drugs, or were
Oh yeah, I saw the drugs.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. I've seen how, it's been transported different ways through fire hydrants, through tires, through fire hydrants, through tires, through everything.
So like they'll just like put the fire hydrants in like.
So they gut the fire hydrant out, stuff it full of drugs, and then you transport it. It's.
So if you got pulled over, they would just see a fire hydrant.
Absolutely.
And what would you say if
thank God I never had that issue.
Fair.
Thank God I never had that issue. Yeah. But what I would say is I'm transporting fire hydrants.
Right.
And then I did that for a couple years, and then they were like, hey, how about you move large amounts of dope?
So
that way you can stay put.
Okay.
Instead of transporting, because I got pulled over one time, and it scared me enough that I was like, okay, I'm cool. Cool. There's enough money here, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to come to find out that was part of, I was being watched, and part of it was a 1, 2, 3 setup buy, is what they call it.
So when you got stopped the first time, that was part of a bigger
That was part
operation.
of what they call if you were to sell somebody something, it would be called a confidential buy, but it was considered a so what they had on me was a no arrest hold.
Right.
So no matter if I got pulled over for anything, and if I had anything on me, whatever, they would not arrest me because they were currently watching me.
Yep.
They were watching me trying to get to the bigger scheme of the picture.
Yep. So they had a charge on you whenever they wanted. So
they could, absolutely, because
Right.
they watched me for 2 years before they arrested me. Yes. So it was. They were building a big case on me and the people I was working for currently at that time, and I started to kind of, how you get an intuition.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this, And one night I had just bought a car, and I turned around and put the plates that I had on another car on that car. And I was driving down Colfax actually, and in Lakewood, and I turned the corner and I saw there was like 6 undercover cops sitting in this parking lot, and I was going to do a buy, and you just get that gut feeling. You just know. You just know. And my stomach dropped to my feet. And I was like, oh God. And I had a lot of drugs in the car. I had a loaded 22 on my back. So I knew that this was going to be really bad. So I pulled into the, I don't know if you know Colorado well, but there's a Casa Bonita.
Okay.
Pulled right in there, and there was a cop behind me. He pulled me over, gave him my identification. It was a fake ID. And he said, is this really you? Because they knew who I was already. Like I said, they had been watching me.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the night I was arrested.
Got you.
And I was in the police car for over 3 hours in the rain while they scrimmaged through my car, even though I told them everything I had. I said, I have drugs, I have a gun on me, I have everything. You know, I was just tired. I was tired. So they arrested me that night. I remember his name was Tony Coletti. He was from West Metro Task Force. I'll never forget his name. He's the meanest man I ever met in my life. And he told me, you're gonna do 15 years unless you start talking. We'll put you back on the streets tomorrow. Nobody will know you even got arrested. You'll hit the streets tomorrow. You work for us now. And I said, oh, you don't know the people I work for. You'll find me in a field dead, burned, is where you find me. Because I worked for the cartel. And they didn't play. They didn't play at all. And I laid my bed, so I had to sleep in it. And the part that touched me with Grasslands is, do you remember when she just started crying because she was going to turn herself in? I think I was numb all the way through sentencing because, you know, I had all these friends out here. I had everybody that it was around me when I was out here, but there wasn't one person in that courtroom when I got sentenced to 15 years. And it was just reality. I lost my children. I had lost my life. I was 32 years old when I went to prison for a 15-year sentence. I mean, it was just heartbreaking. I mean, I kind of like what Pat said in his story, you know, you just isolate. The first year I was in, I just isolated. I didn't want to be around nobody. Anybody looked at me funny, anything, it was on. Let's go. What are you looking at? Because you just, that's how you acclimate in there. That's how you figure things out. And it, I don't know, it's just a part of my life that I'm not ashamed of. I would never do it again, but I'm not ashamed of it because it made me who I am.
Did while you were there, or at any point in this, your kids, like, how were they like a grounding, or was it like a piece, like what, or was it shame there? Like what did you feel when you thought about your kids during this time?
Shame. I remember my son telling me after I got sentenced, he said, my oldest boy, I said, what can I do to make this better? And he said, when you get out, you never go back. And I've never forgotten those words, ever, because I had to quickly have my sister send them to their dad in Tennessee, which they weren't happy about. They didn't want to be with him. You know what I mean? And the life I was living, they were running the streets. They had everything they wanted. They were spoiled kids. And now they were going to a place where they didn't have anything. You know what I mean? And had to start new schools because of my actions. So it was very hard to build that relationship back. It's still very hard with my youngest. He's very hurt by my actions still. But I will tell you, I've had to tell him, you know, I've went to counseling. I've forgiven myself. You're an adult now. You need to get counseling and learn how to figure out how to forgive me. You know what I mean? And it makes our relationship very, very tense because of that. But I still love him. He's my child. You know, he's my son.
So with that, like, cause did you serve the whole 15 years? No.
I served 5 years flat.
Okay.
And then I served the other 10 on in the halfway house for 1.5 years. And then I was on intense supervised ankle monitor for almost 3 years. Then they took me off that. So I served the whole 15, but 5 of it in. And while I was inside, I educated myself. I got janitorial 1, 2, and 3. Did the web press. I did cosmetology. That's where I got my cosmetology license. And I did TC behind the walls, which
TC.
Therapeutical community. It's a drug rehab that's behind the walls that teaches you how to pretty much survive when you get out here.
Okay.
You know, but it's still, I mean, it's hard. It's like Pat said, when you get out, you know, you don't want to sit anywhere where you can't see what's going on around you. If there's a lot of people, it's very intense. There's a lot of anxiety that comes with it. There's a lot of, you know, even after it's been, oh my God, I got out in 2009, so what's that?
16.
16 years.
Yeah.
16 years I've been out, and you know, there's still certain triggers when I get around a bunch of, if it's like a crowded place, and there's a bunch of, maybe like a club, and there's a bunch of people, and people are moving too quick, or, you know, or people are rude, or it's just a trigger. It's just a, you know, but what I will say to it is, you know, the people who want to be out will stay out, because once you don't want to ever go back. You don't ever want to go back. It's not a place you want to reside in for the rest of your life, for sure.
Was that your first offense too?
That was my very first offense.
Okay. Is that why you were able to do the 5 and then do the 10, or how?
Well, county time, DOC time. I'm a special offender because I had a weapon with drugs. They call that special offender. So it just matters. It's how you do your time. It's how you know.
Because they monitor your progress.
They monitor your progress very well. I was held at Denver Women's the whole time, which is the maximum security.
Oh wow.
So I never got the chance to go anywhere out because of the special offender charge. I was supposed to be at Canyon, but they closed that facility, the women's facility, right before I was supposed to go. But yeah, it's.
Do you feel like the program, like the recidivism program, am I correct in saying that it was a recidivism program?
Absolutely.
Do you feel like that helped you?
Oh yeah, if once you get your mind set on programming while you're in there and doing the right things, and you come out, like these days there's a lot more help out there, and I'm very grateful for these guys, that these guys have all the help. When I got out of prison, there was not that help.
Right.
There was no Lifeline, there was no, I don't know, there's a couple of them, places that these guys can go and get grants and support and help. In 2009, they didn't have any of that.
So how did you how did you get the R&R studio, or even Floyd's, right? Because you said you got the Floyd's, right?
So I started out at Supercuts when I first got out of prison. Yep, I worked at Supercuts. I built my way.
Because you had your license, from prison, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I built myself up to a manager there. I built myself up to a district leader there.
Wow.
Yep, okay. I was there for 13 years. Then I went to Floyd's, and I was at Floyd's as a district leader for 6 years. And that's where I met Jamie, and that's how I ended up here.
At any point in those years, do you feel like, did you feel like there was a scarlet letter like on you, or do you feel like people were very accommodating in that way, like where it didn't matter because you were so good at what you do?
I think that you have to be careful who you tell your story to, because there's still, you know, that's what our mission is here, is to change people's minds, to change people's minds about us, and not to judge us and put that, you know, letter on us and say, hey, you're a felon, so, you know, you'll never correct that, because that's so untrue. That's so untrue. We are some of the most loyal workers you will ever find, and dedicated. Once we make that connection and that bond, we're some of the most loyal people. Yeah. Yep.
No, I can imagine, because like you have a different type of purpose behind that.
Oh,
work,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. And the purpose is to prove people that we are good people. We just made a mistake, and guess what? We just got caught. Because most people make a lot of mistakes and don't get caught.
That's real.
That's real.
Very real. I know I done made some mistakes that I ain't got caught. I'm happy. Yeah. So I don't know, just the full circle moment, like, because now you have different people that are continuing to get out, and how do y'all go about choosing people to bring into the community? So usually,
the guys will recommend people, or people will write us from prison.
Okay.
And then what I do is I contact their case manager.
Okay.
And I get an interview with them. Like Pat, I interviewed him 3 times before he...
While still in the system?
While still incarcerated.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. And then we put them on a list because at first we only had the one shop, and we have to, business has to come as it comes until they can build their books. But thank goodness we're blessed. I mean, business is great. We're doing well. We're opening our second shop, which means we'll have 12 more chairs, which means I can start hitting that list and going down it and hire more people.
Is there any other any other businesses that y'all work with? Like, because I imagine you can't take in everybody, right?
Oh, yeah.
So is there any other businesses that y'all work with to make sure that there are other opportunities that
we will absolutely refer them to Floyd's.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Or, we could refer them to Regis, whoever we need to refer them to. Everybody's always looking for a good barber.
Gotcha.
But what we need to do now is connect them with more apprenticeship programs out there, which there's not a lot. There's not a lot of these standing where there's apprenticeship program. And that's why, the goal is this one this year and 2 more in 2026 of R&R. So the more that we can get going, the more apprentices we can have, and then keep it going and going and going.
Yeah, cool.
That's the goal.
and so even with a Floyd's in this, right? You can refer them to a Floyd's, but you want more here to be able to build that.
Absolutely.
That type of
we can refer them to a Floyd's, but we want them to know as soon as we have a chair open for them, we want them back.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And most people want to be here.
Yeah.
I've got somebody who just called me that interviewed with me a year ago, and they were like, "Hey, you told me to call you in a year. I'm calling you."
Yeah.
So I think people want it.
They can feel the community.
Energy, the vibe, because we all really get along in here, and we all have similar stories to share, and and to understand each other and understand the pains you go through, and because you do kind of feel at times labeled, and it touched me so much watching Grasslands. And seeing I think it was the beginning of it where she's in the basement and she's cutting the weed, and because there was so many times that my kids walked in when I was doing something, and I was just trying to shuffle, trying to get them away, and you know what I mean, and it just, that movie just touched me. So it's a good job.
Well, thank
good
you.
job.
Thank you to the team, and everybody.
Good job.
Yeah, I think part of the reason we wanted to make the film is to tell your story, right? Help, and these thousands of people who feel like they didn't have any other option,
Any choice.
right?
Because a lot of people don't have a lot of option, because my other option, I was homeless with my kids in my car at one point. And, before that, I got the opportunity that I got. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be on the streets living with 3 children. I don't want that. And I'm not a person to ask for help. I'm a very strong woman that will go to my end. I'll give somebody the shirt off my back, but I'm not going to ask you for help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll go do it myself. I'll go figure it out myself.
Yeah.
And that's who I am, and that's, if that makes me a bad person, I'm sorry,
does.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, because it don't, because we all out here just trying to eat,
we're just trying to survive, that's it.
And in a country that tells us that we can pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps and go make something of ourselves, right? But then your legs get cut off at the,
exactly.
at the knee. And now we got to figure out
how to pull them up and
without feet, So, just thank you for telling your story.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you for listening.
Yeah.
I hope it touched you in a way.
It did.
Good.
I'm just, but this whole shop.
This whole shop, anytime you're here, come in.
Okay, I will. And I plan on coming through Denver, so I'm I got a haircut, this place I come get a haircut.
Exactly. We got you every time.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.